Well, it is. It's the extreme trans movement, and the irony that the last question that Charlie was answering was with regards to trans shootings, and that in itself was just very, very telling. And I woke up to the news, was absolutely devastated. I can tell you from some of the responses that have been posted on social media, I've had a significant time blocking, reporting some people. See, look at me, I'm turned into a Karen. But it was so disgusting. I mean, the behaviour was so disgusting. But I actually went to the first half of the vigil on Friday night. I had to leave, parental duties called, and I figured Charlie would approve of that. But it was just hundreds of people, every colour, creed, age you could imagine had come together. There was a prayer said. We sung We Are Australian, and all of this was unprompted, very, no backing music. And then Amazing Grace. And I was actually saying to Evelyn before the show, I feel like Amazing Grace is a bit like the Australian anthem. Everyone knows the first verse, but not the second. You could sort of tell that it kind of petered off a bit in that second verse. But, I mean, it was beautiful and it was calm and it was people there to mark the life of a remarkable human. And you didn't need to agree with everything that Charlie said. For some people that didn't really know a lot about him, I've got a daughter who's in that Gen Z kind of age, so he had sparked a lot of debate around our table, and it was, that's what he wanted. He wanted debate, he wanted conversation, and he himself said when we stop talking to each other, that's when violence occurs. And it is just such a tragedy on so many levels. I was up all night Friday night watching Trump do the interview with Fox and Friends, which, can you imagine any of our politicians sitting on a lounge for an hour just having a yarn on breakfast television? But waiting for the FBI press conference when it came up, and, that Utah governor, Spencer Cox, if we don't see him starting to enter the national political stage, I'd be surprised, because he's been absolutely magnificent through this. But it has just been heartbreaking. And Erica Kirk, what an amazing human being she is. Watching her yesterday, how she got through 16 and a half minute statement and kept it together, and it just shows the importance of people's, when they're so deeply rooted in faith, that they can get through things. But it's been extraordinary.
And this is what has just completely confounded me, Darren, is that, you have a wife, you have children who've lost a loved one. And yet you have people, including here in Australia, and I'm sure you would have seen the story about Hannah Ferguson, who runs a mob called Cheek Media, put a post online, sort of not outright saying that she was glad that Kirk had been shot, but, saying that there are circumstances where political justice is violence is justified. And, of course, that was connected to this. Ali Stegel, the Teal MP, liked it. She's now unliked it.
And put out everything's okay.
Yeah, and put out the most pathetic statement I've ever seen.
Absolutely pathetic. Basically saying, I can't believe people have tried to make something out of this. But the fact that people couldn't just look at this, some people on the left, Darren, and go, political violence in any circumstance is a bad thing. How is that even something you have to stop to think about?
Day one is empathy and the family of the person who is deceased, and after that, who knows what happens, but that initial response has to be a human response. And it's an absolute tragedy that someone has been shot. It's concerning, not about left and right, it's concerning for anybody in public life who speaks at a public forum in a public place, particularly in the US, that you can be exposed in that way and that the threat level is live. And that needs to be the first response of any reasonable person, is that human element. And I'm not really sure that you need to descend to left and right and political kind of overview at any stage on this. It's just a tragedy.
Exactly. And the way that some people have clamoured to make political hay out of it, Evelyn. I mean, Bob Carr, the former New South Wales Premier, posted the other day on X that any Liberal, by which he means a United States Liberal, a left-winger, not a Liberal Party member in Australia, who now walks onto a university campus in the US is putting their life at risk. But how is it the first thing? So a Conservative guy has been shot dead in the neck in front of a crowd of thousands, while inviting his political opponents to come and talk to him. and now it's left-wingers who are putting their lives at risk. How do you even get to that point?
It's perpetual victimhood, and they are experts at it. They make everything about themselves, and it's always pure projection, because usually the things that they point their fingers at us about is what they're guilty for themselves. And so that's exactly what's playing out here. They're the ones guilty of hate. They're the ones guilty of incitement. They're the ones guilty of a lack of humanity. That's not us. And I think I saw so much on the internet, and I feel like I can't remember the last night I've had a good night's sleep, because it's been a horrible news cycle this last week. It's just so much for us to fathom. It's just so much for us to understand. But there have been so many positive things coming out of this, and I just wanted to mention some of them because we probably need a bit of this at home. First and foremost, Charlie was a Christian man. He was a man of faith, and that is exactly why he is a martyr, because he was killed for it. That's why they killed him. They didn't kill him because he's Charlie. They killed him because what he did opposed their ideological worldview. And these terrorists are ideological tyrants. And, you know, I think in Charlie's death, he's still bringing the gospel. He's still bringing his message to people, because I have never seen as many people online saying, up until today, I hadn't owned a Bible. I'm going to go buy one and I'm going to start reading it. I've seen fathers write comments on YouTube saying, you know what, I'm taking my family to church this Sunday. And then I went to church today. We spoke about what happened during the Lord's Supper, and we did communion. We had the sacraments, and we did this in joint with the church around the world. And it was a beautiful thing because, again, so many other churches, so many other Christians around the world participated in the same thing today. And I think I just would like to mention one thing about what you said, Darren, in that it isn't about left and right. I agree with that to an extent. It's about good and evil. And these people are literal demons. And what I've come to realise through these events is that we cannot live and we cannot coexist with these people. And I think that's what a lot of people are realising, which is why this has affected a lot of people, because a lot of people have watched this and have watched the response to this, the negative response, and have gone, wow, that could have been me, because I think what that guy thinks there.
But isn't Charlie Kirk right, absolutely 100% correct, that the way to address this is education? And he was prepared to go onto, you know, we'll call it enemy territory, for want of a better expression, express his view, debate anybody,
and he was so respectful with how he did it too.
But I think he probably believed that we can coexist.
No, we can, but I'm not differentiating the people who are willing to have a respectful debate, because I agree 100% that it's the absence of objectivity and debate that's the language of the oppressor. I'm not talking about the people like you and me, like we probably sit differently on the political spectrum.
It's possible.
You know, but we sit next to each other, and I'm not wanting to kill you. But my point is the people, the hundreds. I'm not talking about a few. There are hundreds of thousands of people online who are rejoicing in this guy's death. And let's not just mention, these are the people who were public about it. What about the people who have been silent, who do take pleasure at home in his death? It's a lot more than we realise. And they're the people we can't coexist with, the people who want us dead because we dare have a different opinion to them.
And that was a large part of this, I suspect, Joe, is that, you know, it's not just about Charlie Kirk. It's to scare people. It's to say, look, you think the wrong way, that bullet could come for you.
Yeah, I think to look at it as a sort of vast left-wing conspiracy is the wrong way to see it, and I think that falls into the left's own trap. I wrote a column about it today that's going to go up tomorrow, but what this is... Are you
talking about what caused it, Joe? Sorry?
Yeah, I think...
left-wing conspiracy and what was the motive?
That's right. This is not... There are extremists on both sides. This person is obviously, allegedly, we have to say, because he's been charged, is a terrible human being, and what we have seen is both the left and the right trying to cast him as the personification of the other side. So, and again, I wrote my column on exactly this, that the left, you know, was all a bit sort of sheepish when it was unknown sort of who it was. And then it came out that this guy came from a Republican family, that he loved guns. And suddenly they started going, see, he's MAGA, he's Republican, he's a straight white male, you know. See, it's one of yours, it's one of yours, it's one of yours. Then it turns out he's
not so straight.
That's right. Then it turns out suddenly he's not so straight. He's got a trans partner, which was the topic of the thing. And he's been indoctrinated by a bunch of left-wing ideology,
There
right?
is a radical trans movement, Joe, and you can't deny that.
Yeah, but they're not
it's
going...
not the entire trans movement, and I won't have myself
that's
tarred with that
activists,
brush.
not mass murderers. There's no evidence.
But there is
to
a
suggest-
difference. You can't deny that any time someone on the left has died, shop owners have to board up their shop. Did any of that happen? Holly, they were singing hymns.
Yeah, but
like
both the left and the
Christian
right,
hymns
both the
in
left and the
response.
right.
There is a difference.
But the enemy
Extremists are
the enemy
problematic.
is extremist.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
It is, but the issue,
It's
but the
not
thing
like
is,
the right never smashed up shop windows.
I'm not going to
That's 'cause
disagree
they own
with
the
you on that
shops,
point.
Joe.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that point.
Last
But
time round it was the Jews that owned the shops.
The thing is, though, that if we're making the point about him potentially being the personification of the left, he's not the personification of the left.
At all.
Like, I'm sitting here, I have this show every week and invite left-wingers on because that's the spirit of what we do,
That's
right?
Joe,
But-
darling. We know that's Joe.
Yeah.
He's out, you know.
But-
he's outspoken lefty.
It's extremism that is the enemy.
Yes,
It's
yes,
extremism.
but I think it really demoralises people when they see the response of others
That's
on
right.
the
And
left
it was disgusting.
in large numbers coming out. People who allege that they are mainstream sort of
no, but do you know what they were-
commentators.
but do you know what was happening?
It's better than that. It's people who the Prime Minister goes on their shows, go out celebrating the death
That's right,
of
and
someone.
this will tar their names forever, as it should. But there are also a lot of people on the moderate left who came out and said this is absolutely terrible, and no matter what your politics.
But the
you should
problem
be-
is they are nobodies. We need
and people on the
leadership calling
extreme
out
left.
the
No,
left.
this included the person he was having the debate with when he got shot.
Yeah, correct. I did see that.
And the extremists attack not just the right-wingers and not just Charlie Kirk, but they also attack the moderates and say, how dare you sell out and express sympathy for this man's murder?
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
There was a
They
huge
do.
amount of that. And so you've actually got the extremists on the left attacking the moderates because they know that is where they are going to be, marginalised and sidelined. If the mainstream of both sides speaks up and unequivocally denounces violence, doesn't say there is a war coming and if we don't fight it, we'll die, as Elon Musk told that UK rally, which is just
how is that not
It
true,
says, no,
though?
we don't accept extremism. We don't accept killing or dying. We don't accept extremists taking guns and trying to wipe out people
The point,
who we don't agree with.
the point now.
Joe.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I know it's your show.
We've got to keep moving.